We'll be in Matthew 26 if you'd like to follow along. In the Garden of Eden, mankind was lost, deceived and stolen by God's powerful enemy. And even then, even before then, God had a plan to deal with that enemy, a plan to redeem us. It was a good plan. History will record that it was a successful plan. I am redeemed. But the plan is not what redeemed me. Jesus Christ redeemed me. This is the Mount of Olives. After the Last Supper, Matthew tells us that Jesus and the disciples sang a hymn together, and they left Jerusalem, walked across the Kidron Valley to the Mount of Olives, to a garden similar to this one. Here, Jesus spent his last free moments alive. As Christ entered the Garden of Gethsemane, he faced his ultimate temptation. He had been tempted before, but not like this. To submit to his Father and go to the cross was an awful choice. He prayed so intensely that his sweat thickened and fell like blood to the earth, perhaps mingled with blood, bursting from strained capillaries. 3 times pleading with God if there could be another way. Verse 39 in Matthew 26. He went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." An angel appeared to comfort him, to comfort his Creator. Do you see our Lord beside an olive tree, fallen to the earth in agony, trying to keep his eye on the mission? Later, when the mob arrived to seize Jesus, he rebuked Peter for attacking one of them and asked him, "Do you think that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he will provide me with more than 12 legions of angels?" Jesus had said earlier, "I am the good shepherd. I lay down my life for the sheep. Nobody takes it from me." The point is, he knew how to get out of this situation. He was able to get out of it, if he chose to. He had asked the disciples to keep watch and pray with him, but he found them asleep repeatedly. In verse 40. He came to the disciples and found them asleep and said to Peter, "What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. His closest earthly friends could not realize how important this was, that they pray with him, that they pray for him. As I meditate on these scriptures and imagine the thoughts of our Lord, I see it something like this. My friends, wake up. My time is drawing near. You don't understand what's happening here. I want to save you. I want to redeem you. But I don't want to go to the cross. My enemy is here. Please pray with me. It is within my power not to go to the cross, but I must obey my Father. I know the Psalms of David. My flesh will be torn from me. I will see my bones. They will be pulled out of joint. I will bear all the wrath of my Father for all mankind. I do not want to do this. I do not have to do this. My Father will not hold me down, but I must choose the cross. Please pray with me that you may not enter temptation. Please pray for me that I may not enter temptation. My spirit is willing, but my flesh is weak. Jesus wasn't giving Peter, James, and John a reason for their inability to stay awake. He was trying to help them realize the urgency and gravity of the situation. All eternity was bound up in the choice that he was making, in the temptation he was resisting. He needed them to pray. The principle that he gave them was the one he was practicing right then. Look again at verse 40. Watch with me. Jesus was watching. Jesus was praying. Jesus was fighting temptation. Because his spirit was willing, but his flesh was weak. Back in the upper room, Jesus had said, "This is my body, broken for you." This body, his flesh was weak. He was not eager to lay it down. This was no quick execution. It was slow, excruciating physical torture and spiritual death. Complete and absolute separation from God. My God, why have you forsaken me? But he did it. He chose the cross. Willingly, as an innocent man, for you and for me. I am redeemed. In a perfect Garden of Eden, man, with a free will, chose himself over God, fell, and paid a heavy price. Thousands of years later, in a fallen Garden of Gethsemane, a perfect God-man with a free will chose us over himself and redeemed us, paying an unimaginable price. Today, remember, reflect, and appreciate his sacrifice given for your redemption, given for your eternal freedom. Remember that you were his choice. Pastor here.